In today's Leeds news, Stefan Borson on Leeds Everton settlement, Radebe wants 49ers fate in Farke, Gudmundsson on his OG hurt, Dan James clarity, and Leeds change architecture firm for Elland Road redevelopment. Morning folks, welcome back to the Leeds View for the 1st of October. It's Wednesday with your Leeds United news. Hope your week is going well so far. Apologies about the state of the edit yesterday on the Dan James story, by the way, because it changed so quickly after we put the news video out that we had to edit it within YouTube's software, which isn't great. But there was no point in leaving parts of it in there that were then proved to be false once they had come out. So just apologies on that one. It's much tidier today, or at least I hope it will be by the time the edit's finished. We'll see how we go. If you want to stick a like on the video as well, that would be super helpful considering the really crappy time we're going through with YouTube right now. But if you could do that, that would be great. But there's a lot of news to get stuck into, so let's just start off. And we'll start with Stefan Borson's comments on Leeds United's settlement and how much Leeds may have received from Everton. Last week we got the news that Leeds United and Everton had reached an out-of-court settlement stemming from the legal action brought against them for breaking the PSR rules and gaining an unfair sporting advantage. Leeds, Burnley, Leicester, Southampton and Nottingham Forest have all brought legal compensation claims against Everton following their breaches of PSR in the 21-22 season as well as the 22-23 season. The Athletic reported on the settlement that was said to be confidential at the time, but nothing stays too confidential for too long, and people can read between the lines on this. The financial package Leeds will receive, though, is still said to be undisclosed, but Leeds didn't believe that they had a strong case against Everton, so decided to opt for an out-of-court settlement instead of going to court and potentially losing the case all up. But football finance expert Stefan Borson believes Leeds could have missed out on £2 million as a result of Everton's financial breach. Burnley are suing Everton for a reported £50 million as they were relegated in the 21-22 season, finishing 4 points behind Everton, who stayed up that year. But speaking on the Leeds United settlement, Borson had the following to say. Well, it wasn't a massive surprise. I speculated in March when we first found out that Burnley were suing Everton about what might happen to the other teams, and one thing that was absolutely clear that they had some kind of claim was Leeds, probably only a claim for one place in the league, and that would have been around about £2 to £2.5 million. And I think they'll have just taken a discount for the question on whether they would win the case. I don't know, but 40 to 45%, and probably settled for in and around £1 to £1.5 million. Leeds weren't relegated that season. That's likely where the weakness in the case lies, but the fact they missed out on that space by 1 point above means they had some form of a case, and between £1 and £1.5 million coming in, maybe that goes towards someone's wages, maybe that goes towards a transfer kitty in January. We'll have to wait and see, but nice to get a little bit of detail on that. But it's undisclosed, but Borson's reading of it is between £1.5 million that Leeds have received from Everton as a result of the settlement. Let's move on. And Leeds United's new official ambassador Lucas Radebe has called on the 49ers to show faith in Daniel Farke, even if the positive start to this season starts to stutter. Speaking to Leeds Live about Daniel Farke, Radebe says that he's met the manager, thinks he's a great guy, and believes Farke needs support and time from the hierarchy at Leeds United. Farke's role will always only be a couple of results away from speculation, and rumours in the summer, along with certain fan sentiment, will likely continue to drive this should he slip up. On Farke, Radebe had the following to say. I've heard a lot of comments this season about Daniel Farke. I've met with him and I know that he's a good guy, but obviously he's going to be judged on results. For me, you give a manager an opportunity and a chance to do that. You can see that he loves working at this club. I've heard the argument that he's helped to get teams up but couldn't keep them up. But for me, the important thing is to show faith in him. I think he should be given a chance by, the hierarchy. Radebe talks an awful lot of sense, and those who don't want Daniel Farke around is likely down to personal preference and the style of football that they would like to see Leeds United play over any kind of real results part of this. And the board will likely just tune out all of that noise and focus on the results. But bad results will lead to speculation around his job. But we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. Radebe's return to Leeds, though, was a special moment for him. And speaking about his return to Elland Road this week, Radebe had the following to say. It's hard to describe. It's goosebumps. It's emotions. It's absolutely amazing. It was like I've never been away from the place. Just walking onto the field, seeing smiling faces, passion, love, people that you know wearing that crest. It's something else. It's a privilege. It's great to have these people back in and around the club. He's already been out in the community doing work along with Stuart Dallas, has been doing work with his part of this new official ambassador role. They are likely to be part of the dressing room, be in the community and be around the environment of Leeds United to try and help and support the club. And again, they'll likely be more available to the press than anybody behind the scenes at Leeds. So you'll get these snippets of conversations and comments from them moving forward, which for personally is great, as very little comes out of Leeds United. At least we'll have their opinions on things. Let's move on. Let's talk about Gabby Gudmundsson on his own goal hurt. He might not have any goals or assists to his name or picked up any man of the match awards, but for me, Gabby Gudmundsson has been one of, if not the standout signing of the summer for Leeds United. Gudmundsson has been electric for Leeds and has had to deal with the impact of his own goal and costing Leeds United points on the road. It's an own goal only in name. He knew very little about it as the ball bounced off his head and shot into the corner of the net, and Daniel Farke called it the own goal of the century. But his recovery from tears in the dressing room to outstanding performances on the pitch has shown the strength of character of a player that Leeds United have brought in this summer. While the man that he replaced, Junior Firpo, has struggled to resettle in Spain thus far, Gudmundsson has shown, so far at least, that he is Premier League level. Speaking to Leeds Live on the ongoing situations around it, Gabby Gudmundsson had the following to say. I can't describe how much it hurt. It was hurting me for 2 days, obviously because we played a good game, and after international breaks it's very difficult to play away and to get a good result. In my time I've never been through something like that, because I think we played a very good game and deserved at least 1 point, even maybe 3. So it was really hurtful. Gudmundsson's reaction has been top notch, and we can hope that his form will continue for longer this season. But he will have to deal with an international break coming up next week, and he will also have to deal with an away trip to Burnley coming off the back of that. And that game will be one that Leeds will be expected to pick up points, as Burnley currently sit third bottom in the Premier League. Let's move on. Let's talk about Daniel James. And yesterday morning, news went around that Daniel James may be out for a considerable amount of time, even possibly with an ACL injury. By lunchtime, Wales manager Craig Bellamy had clarified the situation, alleviated any kind of fears the fans might have around the longer term availability of Dan James. But to most people's confusion, Dan James was then named in the Wales squad for their upcoming internationals in the international break. So what's the story and what happened and where are we with Dan James? According to both Bellamy and a spokesperson from Leeds United, Dan James picked up an ankle injury in training and is not expected to miss a serious amount of time. In fact, Bellamy believes he might even be available to play during the international break. Speaking on this, a Leeds spokesperson said the following. As Wales manager Craig Bellamy confirmed in his press conference, Daniel James has an ankle issue which is currently undergoing assessment. Any absence is not expected to be long term, and Leeds United manager Daniel Farke will provide an update during his Thursday press conference. So some relief and some good news on the Dan James situation. The more players that don't go on international duty for Leeds' sake is a benefit as they get ready for that trip to Burnley. So the more players that are around, the better, but that won't always be the case. Let's move on and talk about the main story of today in Leeds' change of architects right before an announcement is expected on the Elland Road redevelopment. News coming out of Elland Road is that Leeds United have dropped architecture firm KSS and brought in BDP to lead the redesign of the redeveloped Elland Road. KSS were the original architects behind the Elland Road proposed redevelopment, but Leeds have decided now to move in a different direction. BDP do have a strong record in sports and public architecture and are now tasked with reimagining what the Elland Road redevelopment will end up looking like. The key takeaways from this piece that has come out today are as follows. Leeds have replaced KSS with BDP. The changes reflect a strategic shift under the 49ers enterprises, aiming for a modernised, higher capacity stadium. BDP's appointment may suggest new design elements or direction, potentially more aligned with the club's long-term ambitions. BDP's appointment to the Elland Road development hasn't come out of nowhere. They have a serious pedigree in stadium redevelopment and stadium design, as well as urban redevelopment, which may be the major factor in the decision around this change. BDP Partner, which is the sports arm of BDP, recently completed Everton's new Bramley Dock Stadium, which will host 52,882 fans, as well as a full waterfront redevelopment project. And Leeds are looking for more than just a stadium redesign. They're looking for a regeneration project of the surrounding areas, along with the council as well. BDP have been involved in some major projects in recent times after designing the sustainable Al Rayyan Stadium for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Tottenham Hotspur's new training centre has also been designed and developed by BDP, as well as contributing to the London Stadium for the London 2012 Olympics, that at the time was designed as an athletic stadium, not a football ground, so that probably shouldn't be held against them. West Ham have had serious problems in making that stadium fit for purpose for football fans over the last couple of years. It's not a football stadium, it's an athletic stadium, was never designed to be a football stadium, so we can put that one to the side, or at least look at it from the perspective of a athletics design for an athletics stadium. So we'll see where we go with this, but it's an intriguing change at this point with some standout work behind them. What happens next, we'll have to wait and see. Leeds are expecting approval on the Elland Road design within the next couple of weeks. It is expected by mid-October, so we should be hearing some news on that relatively soon on the project. But it is an interesting stage of the development. This will be the final green light before Leeds get ready to put spades in the ground come the end of this season, when development work is expected to take place. The ground will be developed from the outside in order to reduce any kind of impact on the capacity of the stadium moving forward while this design work is being done. We'll see how it goes. Everyone's very excited about this. A full packed loud Elland Road at 50 odd thousand will be amazing to see it, make it easier for people like me to get tickets and get over to games more often. We'll see how it goes, folks. But that will be all for me today. Back tonight at 7 o'clock for the podcast. You can check it out, myself, Paul and Jerry. We'll be having a look back at Bournemouth and a look ahead to this weekend's game against Spurs and Leeds, hopefully getting some more points on the board before the international break. Outside that, enjoy the rest of your day. Back tomorrow morning with the news. Back tonight with the podcast. See you then.